You think you know Henry VIII? The fat king with 6 wives? Forget everything your history teacher told you. The Real Henry was a monster so grotesque. His own servants were traumatized. A king so obese he needed machines just to move. A man whose leg wounds rotted so horrifically. The stench could be detected 3 rooms away. A ruler whose body was so full of poison and gas that his own coffin exploded during his funeral procession. You are about to discover the shocking secrets that make Game of Thrones look like a nursery rhyme. This isn't just history. This is a horror story. Let's start with the most shocking truth. By the end of his life, Henry VIII was literally rotting alive. We're talking about a man with a 54-inch waist, weighing nearly 400 pounds. But it wasn't just fat. His legs were covered in festering, open ulcers that oozed pus and never healed. The smell was so overwhelming that servants would literally run away gagging. They drew straws to see who had the horrific job of dressing him, because getting close to those wounds was a form of torture. But wait, it gets worse. Modern experts believe a jousting accident in 1536 gave him a severe traumatic brain injury. He was unconscious for 2 hours, which in medieval terms meant he was practically dead. This injury explains his transformation from a charismatic young king into the paranoid, rage-filled tyrant of his later years. You don't learn this in history class, but Henry also likely had Cushing's syndrome, which explains a massive weight gain, and those horrific leg ulcers. His own doctors were so terrified of him, they wouldn't dare suggest he was ill. Criticizing the king's health was treason. This is the same man who claimed divine right to rule, but couldn't even control his own bowel movements. Attendants had to carry special chairs for him everywhere, because he could barely make it from one room to the next. Everyone knows he executed 2 wives, but the reality was a psychological hell that went far beyond beheading. Take in Bullen. Before her execution, Henry forced her to watch 5 innocent men, including her own brother, be executed for allegedly sleeping with her. She had to stand there, knowing she was next, as her husband's paranoid fantasies destroyed everyone around her. Catherine Howard, his teenage wife, got even worse. When he discovered she wasn't a virgin, he didn't just execute her. He passed a law making it treason for any woman to marry the king without revealing her entire sexual history. Imagine being so petty you change the entire legal system over your teenage wife's past. And Catherine of Aragon? She spent her final years under house arrest, forbidden from seeing her own daughter, while Henry spread rumors she was insane. She died alone, possibly poisoned, writing love letters he never even bothered to read. The man treated human beings like disposable objects. You'd think his reign of terror would end with his death. Wrong. This man was so committed to being a disaster. Even his corpse caused mayhem. His body was so bloated with gases from decomposition that his coffin had to be specially reinforced with lead. But during the funeral procession, the pressure built up until the coffin literally exploded. Rotting royal remains splattered all over the inside of the hearse. The stench was so horrific. The procession had to stop while servants cleaned up the mess with buckets. And here's a detail that will haunt your dreams. Dogs were reportedly seen licking up the king's remains that had leaked onto the road. The man who claimed to rule by divine right ended up as dog food on a country highway. The real Henry VIII wasn't a king. He was a walking disaster, a prisoner of his own decaying body, whose legacy of chaos couldn't even be contained by death itself. If these disturbing royal secrets made you question everything, hit that subscribe button, because the truths that textbooks leave out are always the most horrifying.